Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn about classes and objects. Alright? Classes and objects are part of object-oriented programming. Alright? Now, since you are a beginner, I will not explain too much about object-oriented programming. In this video, what we will focus on is classes and objects. Alright. Now, let me give you an example to help you relate to classes and objects. Okay. Now here I have a file by the name application, and this file is a template. Okay. I will open this now and you can see it is a template. Now let me take a scenario. Let us say that I am the owner of a school, Sahana International School. Okay. And let us say that there are parents waiting to send their children to my school. Okay. When these parents come to my school to admit their kids, I give them this application form to fill out with the child's details and ask them to return it back to me. Okay, that is the procedure for admission. Alright, now forget about the procedure, just focus on the application form. This is the template that I will be giving to the parents, and this application form has two fields, name and age. Correct? Of course, a real application would have more fields, but let us keep it simple. If 10 parents come, then I can take 10 printouts of the same application form and give one to each parent. Correct? If 100 parents come, then I can take 100 printouts and give one to each parent. Right? Meaning, I can print out as many applications as I want from this single template. Correct? Now here is the connection. Template is equal to class and printout is equal to object. Alright? The class is like a blueprint or a template, and the objects are instances or printouts made from that template. Alright. Now each printout, when filled out by parents, will have different values for the same fields. Correct? Like different names and different ages. So this is the essence of object-oriented programming. Alright? Creating multiple unique objects from a single class. Or in other words, taking multiple printouts from a single template. Alright? Yes. Assuming that you have understood, let me proceed to the terminology. When we talk about variables in classes, we call them attributes. Okay? And when we talk about functions in classes, we call them methods. Alright? So remember that attribute is equal to variable, method is equal to function. Okay? Now let us create a class and objects by taking this example itself. Alright? I will go to VS Code and start writing. To create a class, we use the keyword class, and then we give our class a name. Okay, I will give our class the name students. Alright, or in other words, I will name the template as students. Okay, this is equal to renaming our file as students. Alright, renaming the template as students. Okay, now after the name of the class, we need to have a colon. Alright, and the convention is to have the first letter of the name of the class in uppercase. Okay, it is fine if it is lower, but this is what the developers generally use. Alright, so now we have named the template as students. Alright, and inside this I will say def, and I will have double underscores in it, and then once again double underscore. Okay, so init stands for initialize, and I have two underscores before init and two underscores after init. Okay, now what is this init? I will tell you later. Alright, and inside brackets we need to have the first parameter as self. Okay, and after that we will have name and age. Okay, because these two are the ones that the parents will be filling out, right? So I will have name and age. Okay, and after this we need to have a colon, and inside I will say self dot name is equal to name, and I will say self dot age is equal to age. Alright, I will explain this in a few minutes. Okay, now what we have done is we have created a template by the name students. Okay, or in other words, what we have done is we have created this template. Okay, now let us go ahead and create two objects from this, or in other words, let us take two printouts of this template to give it to two parents. Alright, so I will say student1 is equal to students and brackets. Alright, so this is how we create an object. Alright, student1 is an object, and this object is of students class. Alright, or in other words, this is a printout of this template. Alright, yes. So this is the first printout or the first object. In the same way, I will say student2 is equal to students and brackets. Alright, so now we have created the second object from this template students. Okay, or in other words, we have taken the second printout of this template students. Alright, now After taking the printouts and after giving it to the parents, what do? They fill it out with details. Correct? Now let us take this image as a reference and fill the template out. Let us say that this parent wants to admit this kid whose name is Anita and who is 5 years old. Alright? And let us say that this is student 1. Alright? So the name is Anita, age is 5 years. I will go here and in the brackets I will say Anita and 5. Okay? And since Anita is a string, it has to be enclosed between quotes. Alright? Now, what happens when this line runs or executes? When this line executes, this method or function gets called automatically. Okay? Where is this method? Inside this class. Correct? And here we are creating an object from this class, right? So when this line gets executed, this method, which is another name for function, gets called automatically. Okay? And to this function, in the place of self, student 1 gets passed automatically. Okay? We don't have to do anything. Student 1 will be passed automatically to self. Alright? And then Anita will be passed to name and 5 will be passed to age. Okay? And then we have these two lines inside this method. Right? This is a variable or an attribute. This is also a variable or an attribute. Okay? And we are assigning name and age to these two variables or attributes. Okay? So what happens is Anita, that is passed to name, will be stored in this attribute. Alright? Now what is self? Self is student 1. So student 1 will be self. Okay? Student 1 dot name is equal to name. And what did we pass to name? Anita. Right? So Anita will be stored in this variable or attribute. Okay? I am saying variable because you are new to the word attribute. Okay? When we have variables inside classes, they should be referred to as attributes. Alright? So this is an attribute here. Okay? In the same way, student 1 gets passed to self. Correct? So self will be student 1 and student 1 dot age equal to age. And what did we pass to age? Number 5. So 5 will be age. Alright. So when this line gets executed, this is what happens. This function gets called automatically and student 1 will be passed to self, Anita will be passed to name and 5 will be passed to age. Okay. So self dot name will be name, which now becomes student1 dot name is equal to Anita. Self dot age equal to age, which now becomes student1 dot age equal to 5. Alright. So Anita gets stored in this attribute and 5 gets stored in this attribute. Alright. So let me go back. So the first object is created. Next, for the second object, we have Ravi as the name and 6 years as the age. And let us say that this is student 2. Okay. So I will pass Ravi here along with 6 age. Okay. Now, when this line gets executed, the init method gets called automatically. And when this method gets called, student 2 will be passed to self automatically. Ravi will be sent to name and 6 will be sent to age. Okay. So self.name will now be student2.name, and for name we have sent Ravi, and so the name will be Ravi. Student2.age will be age, and for age we have sent 6, and so age will be 6. So Ravi will be stored in this variable or attribute, and 6 will be stored in this variable or attribute. Alright. So this is what happens when this line gets executed. Okay. So now that we have created two objects, let us access the attributes. I will say print, and inside the brackets I will say student1 dot name. Okay. And when I print it out, I get Anita as the output, because in student1 dot name Anita is stored, right? In the same way, if we say student2 dot name, then we get Ravi as the output. If we say student2 dot age, then we get 6 as the output. And if we say student1 dot age, we get 5 as the output. Alright. So here what we are doing is we are printing the value stored in this attribute or variable. Okay. So this is how we can create a template, and also we can create as many objects from the same template. Alright. Yes. So let me clear this. A point to remember here is that this word self need not be self itself. It can be anything. So here if I have VVV, then here too I need to have VVV, and here too it should be VVV. Okay. And this also can be anything. I will say N. And this too can be anything. I will say A. Alright. Now to access student1 dot age, it is not age now, it is A. And when I run this, I get 5 as the output. Okay. Student1 will be sent to VVV, and VVV dot A will be 5. All right. But the normal convention is to have self as the word here. Okay. And also self should be the first word in the brackets. We cannot have self in this position or in this position. Okay. Yes. So this is about classes and objects. All right. Now, a class can have functions inside it or methods inside it. Right? So here, let me have a function or a method. I will say def and I will say eligible, and inside this I will say self. Okay. Now I will write a few lines of codes and then explain you what I want to do. All right. I will say if self.age is greater than or equal to 6, then return can be admitted. All right. Else return under age. Okay. Now, in my school, there is a condition that a child can be admitted to the school only if he or she is 6 years of age or more. And so that is what I am checking here. Okay. I have defined this method or function with the name eligible, and then I am passing self as the parameter. Okay. I am saying if self.age is greater than or equal to 6, then the child can be admitted. Else the child cannot be admitted. Okay. Now let us check if a child can be admitted to the school or not. I will delete this and I will say student1 dot eligible and brackets. Okay. So this is how we call the function. We mention the object name along with the name of the function. All right. And now I will have this in a print function and I will run this. And when I do that, I get under age as the output because student 1 is of 5 years. Okay. Now if I say student 2 dot eligible and if I run this, I get can be admitted as the output because student 2 is of 6 years. All right. So when we call this, student 2 gets passed to self, and here it will be checked if student 2 dot age is greater than or equal to 6. Student 2 dot age is 6, and so can be admitted will be returned to this and it will be printed out. All right. This method or this function is exclusive to this class. Okay. Yes. So this is about classes and objects. All right.